Hi, third graders. My name is Shelby, and I'm from Partnership for Kids. Thank you so much for being at school today so you can watch this video. I'm super excited to be making it for you today. We're going to be talking about careers, and I know we've already talked about careers a little bit before, but today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the schooling and the training that different careers need because all careers are different and the kind of training that you need to be in that career. Like for example, doctors need more training and schooling than nurses, and nurses need more schooling and training than EMTs. And then they also go to like different kinds of schools, like nurses go to nursing school, doctors go to medical school, and things like that. So I work at Partnership for Kids, and the way that I got this job was that so I am a senior in college. I'm at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, UNO, as you've probably heard it called, and my major is elementary education. For my major, I take classes that teach me how to teach kids. I learn a lot about how kids learn and grow and things like that. So that's like my major. It's like the kind of field that I want to go into. I want to work with kids. I want to work with how they learn, how they grow, and things like that. So that's why I got my job at Partnership for Kids, because I have been getting that training from my college about kids. So that's how I got my job. So since we talked a little bit about careers, we are going to dive into our book for today. If you have your copy, go ahead, get it out. If you don't have a copy yet, you will receive one, and it'll be yours to take home. So our book is Engineers Solve Problems by Reagan Miller and Crystal Sikkens. I'll give you a few seconds to grab that book out if you want to follow along. Imagine you are in a library. A book you really want to read is on the top shelf and you can't reach it. What do? Do you A, wait until you grow taller, B, wait by the shelf and hope that an adult comes by to help, or do you C, make a plan to create something to solve your problem so you can safely reach your book? If you chose C, you are already thinking like an engineer. Engineers are people who use math, science, and creative thinking to design things to solve problems. To design is to make a plan for how something is made or built. Engineers solve many kinds of problems. Keep reading to find out what some of them are. What do you think of when you hear the word problem? Many people think a problem is something bad. Engineers, however, are people who enjoy solving problems. In fact, engineers are professional problem solvers. An engineer might design a bridge so cars and trucks can get across a river. There are many different kinds of problems, so different kinds of engineers are needed to solve them. Things that allow us to communicate with people far away, travel quickly from place to place, and stay warm in cold weather were all designed by different kinds of engineers. So this little girl is communicating over the phone with a friend far away, and the things on these people are keeping them warm. The coats, the hats, the scarves, those were also designed by engineers so they can stay warm outside. What do engineers design? The things engineers design are called technologies. A technology is anything made by a person to solve a problem or meet a need. For example, what do you do if your pencil breaks when you're writing? You use a pencil sharpener. A pencil sharpener is a technology that solves your broken pencil problem. A pencil sharpener quickly sharpens your pencil so you can keep writing. What do you think? Look at the pictures below. Each photograph shows a technology. What problem does each technology solve? So we have a fan, and a fan will cool off a hot room. A light bulb, which will light up a room so we can see. There is an alarm clock that wakes you up in the morning when you have to go to school, or if you have something you're going to do for the day, maybe you're going to go to the zoo or something. And an umbrella, which keeps us dry in the rain. Tool technologies. Long ago, people solved problems using simple technologies such as tools. Tools are objects that people use to make work easier and faster. Different tools are made for different kinds of work. Tools help people meet their needs. All people need shelter. Tools such as hammers, drills, and saws can be used to build shelters like this house. Tool time travel. Many of our needs today are the same as they were long ago. Some of the tools designed long ago are still being used today. However, some work better now than they did before. This is because engineers not only created new technologies, they also improved them, or made the new ones that we have now. What do you think? Can you match up the tools from long ago and today? Can you tell how the tools have improved? So I'll try to make it so you can see it. So it looks like we have an axe right here, which would probably go to this one right here. We have a drill, which matches up to this. They definitely look a lot different, I would say. Oh, and then we have a little mixer, maybe you're making a cake or some cookies, brownies, and that would go to this. The design process. The engineering design process is a step of steps that engineers use as a guide to help them solve problems. The engineering design process helps engineers find the best solution or answer to a problem. So, number 1 is find a problem. Ask questions about the problem to learn about it. Then we move right here. Number 2, brainstorm solutions. Work with the group to come up with different ways to solve problems. Move on to number 3, make a plan and make a model. As a group, choose the best solution. Create a plan to make a model of the solution. Gather materials and make your model. Number 4 is test and improve. Test your model. Record the results. Use the test results to help you make your design better. Retest your improved design. And number 5 is communicate. Share your design with others. What's the problem? The first step in the engineering design process is finding a problem to solve. Engineers look for problems to solve that can help others, improve something that isn't working, or to help the environment. An engineer might look for a way to make something easier for elderly or disabled people to do. So they made a wheelchair was their answer to a problem. Find out more. Before they start solving a problem, engineers must first make sure the problem hasn't already been solved before. Then they need to gather information to better understand why the problem needs to be solved. Talking to others, asking questions, and doing research are all helpful ways to gather information. What do you think? Can you think of a problem to solve that would help others? Ask your friends and family what problems they would want solved. Super solutions. Once engineers understand the problem, they think about possible solutions. There are often many different solutions to a problem. Engineers look for the solution that best meets the needs of the problem. Engineers often work with others to find the best solution for a problem. Brilliant brainstorming. Brainstorming is a group activity used to share ideas. Engineers use brainstorming to create a list of possible solutions. When brainstorming, only one person speaks at a time while everyone else listens. Everyone has a chance to speak, and no one judges another person's ideas. All ideas are written down. So, the problem statement here is our backpacks are too heavy to carry home at the end of the day. Someone said, put wheels on the bottom of backpacks so we can pull them. Another suggestion was photocopy only the pages you need to complete the homework. And the last one was put motors inside backpacks so we can drive them home. What do you think? Work with some friends and brainstorm other possible solutions to fill in the empty circles below. So think in your head for a few seconds on how you would solve the backpack being too heavy to carry home at the end of the day. Making models. Engineers decide as a group which solution is the best to solve the problem. To help explain their idea and find out whether their solution will work, engineers often build models. A model is a representation of a real object. It can show how something will look or how different parts of an object will work together. A model can be a solid object, a drawing, or a diagram. This diagram shows the different parts of a wind turbine. So right here you can see that they wrote down that the blades are here, and this is where this is the tower. Testing models. A model may not have all the same parts or details as the real object, but a model can help people understand the engineer's ideas for solving the problem. Testing a model is a good way to see whether an idea will work. It can also tell an engineer what things need to be fixed or changed. This child is testing his model wind turbine to see whether it can produce enough electricity to power a house. Wind energy helps the environment because it does not create pollution. Problem-solving kids. Anyone can become an engineer. Kids just like you have designed technologies that solve problems. Cassidy Goldstein was 11 years old when she designed a holder for broken crayons. At age 9, Chris Haas designed a basketball with handprints on it to show kids where to put their hands when shooting a basket. Excellent earmuffs. Did you know March 13th is Earmuff Day in the United States? Thanks to 15-year-old Chester Greenwood's invention in 1873, earmuffs have become one of the best ways to keep our ears warm on a cold day. Chester wanted to find a way to keep his ears warm while ice skating. He designed earmuffs to solve his problem. He solved this problem for others too. Be a problem solver. The world is full of problems waiting to be solved. You just have to find them. Think of a problem to solve that would help people, animals, or the environment. Follow the steps of the engineering design process to help you find a solution to your problem. Here's some problems to get you started. Design a tool to peel an orange without getting sticky hands. Find a safe way to pick up garbage to help keep the environment clean. Design something to keep your dog dry when it goes out in the rain. And then right here it has learning more. So there's other books that you can check out that have more information about engineers. And there's also some websites listed here as well. And you can probably see them better in your book. So you can look at these when you get home or if you go to a library. And then in the back we have our words to know section and the index. So throughout the book, you may have noticed that some words were bolded, which means that they were darker and a little bit thicker than other words. If you see those in the book, you can come to the back right here and it'll give you the definition of all those words. And here's the index. This is where they went over some kind of highlighted sections, some important parts, and then you can come back here. So if you wanted to see where brainstorming was, what pages brainstorming was talked about on, you can see right here that's on pages 13 and 17. So you can go to those pages and read about it. And I really hope you guys liked learning about engineers. They do a lot of things for our world, really. They design so many things, and it's really cool to learn about them. So since we read our book about engineers, learned a little more about them, now we're going to talk a little bit more about the different kinds of schooling and training that other careers need. So the first one we're going to talk about is a barber or a hairstylist. So if your teacher could pause the video at this moment, and if a few people could share what kind of training or schooling they think that barbers or hairstylists need, that'd be awesome. Thank you, and just unpause when you're done sharing. Okay, well, thank you so much for those of you who shared. Our second one is a doctor. So the same thing as before, pause the screen and then unpause when you're done sharing what kind of training and what kind of schooling you think doctors need. Okay, thank you for those of you who shared. So doctors do go to medical school, and this is where they learn about medicine and how to make people feel better. And doctors also do this something in medical school called residency, and this is when they basically work with other doctors who have already gone through their schooling and their training, and they kind of follow them around on a daily basis and learn from them when they help like treat patients. And I think I forgot to go over barbers and hairstylists, but barbers and hairstylists go to a school called cosmetology school. And this is where they learn how to cut hair, how to dye hair, do different kind of hairstyles. A lot of them learn how to do like the eyelash extensions or just like wax eyebrows and things like that. So our third career we're going to talk about is an electrician. So the same thing as the first two, pause the screen and talk about what kind of schools or training that electricians need, and then unpause the screen when you're done. Thank you. Okay, thank you for those of you who shared. So, an electrician goes to a school called a trade school, and here this is where they learn basically just how to become an electrician. They also follow around other trained electricians and learn from them as well, kind of like how the doctors learn from the already trained and schooled doctors. And so, our next one we're going to talk about is a teacher. So, same thing as before, pause and talk about what kind of schooling and training a teacher needs, and then unpause when you're finished. Okay, thank you for those of you who shared. So, a teacher does go to a 4 year school and they will have a major in education of some kind, whether it's early childhood, which is kids who are like in preschool to third grade, or elementary, which is like third to fifth. There's also like middle school with that too, and high school as well. So, they'll major in one of these fields and then that's basically determining or figuring out what kind of classes they'll need to take. So you'll either learn about how to teach younger kids or middle school kids or high school kids. And then they also do something called student teaching. And student teaching is basically when they're in a classroom with a teacher who has already done their schooling and their degree and all that stuff. They're a trained teacher and they help the teacher out in the classroom. They learn from the teacher. They're able to do their own lessons for the classroom. And so it's basically like the same thing with the electrician and the doctors. They're learning from somebody who has already finished their schooling. And the last one we're going to talk about is a chef. So, same thing as before, pause, talk about the training and schooling a chef needs, and unpause when you're finished. Okay, thank you for sharing again. So, a chef goes to culinary school, which is where they learn how to prepare food, how to make different kinds of meals, how to like cut some things like how to cut an onion, how to dice an onion, and things like that. So that's their kind of schooling and training. Thank you so much for those of you who were answering those questions. I know that it's kind of hard to figure those out if it's nothing you never looked into before, but I really appreciate you all trying and answering the questions, and I appreciate you guys following along in the book with me. I know this was a longer session today, but I really appreciate you guys sticking it out with me. Have a great rest of your day, third graders. Bye.